Millennial pause and sigh. How do I start this video? Hi everyone. It's been a while. And first of all, I want to apologize for not being able to make more videos this autumn. My last video I said, I'm gonna make so many videos, I'm gonna try to do better, and look at me now. That didn't happen, but I do have a valid reason, and by no means do I have to share this. I'm not even sure why I'm sharing it, but I do feel that, and I have felt that this is a subject that's very sensitive, and also I think many women out there are going through this. I couldn't find a lot of shared experiences about this. There are some on YouTube, thank God for you who are brave enough to share your story. I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to share mine, but I will now, and I realize that I'm putting a camera on my face and I'm putting it out there, and this is by my own choice. I'm just doing this so that if anyone out there has a similar situation, I just want you to know that you are not alone. I will share the story from the beginning. My husband and I have been trying to get pregnant for a while and not succeeded. And I thought this would be a story about fertility, which I know is so relevant for so many people in the sense that there is a fertility issue. But when we went to the doctor, it turned out that I had a fibroid or a myoma, 10 centimeters big, basically blocking my fallopian tubes. So it was impossible for us to get pregnant. So that had to obviously be removed. Some people are so brave going into something like that, at least as an outsider who have kind of like severe anxiety of hospitals and going into that mindset of having to be introduced to that world. I see other people talk about hospitals and talk about appointments, and everyone seems to have everything in order and being completely cool about it. And I've always envied that because that is something I do not have. So for those of you who have anxiety about things like this, you're not alone. I'm here with you. So when I was told that I needed surgery, my whole world just felt flipped upside down. On the one side, you're grateful that this is an issue that can be solved. On the other side, I was terrified. I knew I had to go into a world I have never been introduced to before. And I didn't even know anything about my situation. None of the women in my family, as far as I knew, had this issue. Now, for those of you who don't know what a myoma is, because I didn't, let me just quickly tell you about it. So a myoma, also known as a uterine fibroid or leiomyoma, is a common non-cancerous benign growth made of muscle and fibrous tissue that develops in or around the uterus. The growths can vary in size, number, and location, inside, within the wall, or outside a uterine cavity, and often cause heavy bleeding, pelvic pain, or pressure, though many women don't have symptoms. I did not have any symptoms, no heavy bleeding, no nothing. I only had fertility issues. I could not get pregnant. It's solvable, it's doable, but it's honestly, this is my honest opinion, it's scary because now you've already waited and tried for something so beautiful, and then you are told you have to wait even longer. And in my country, it's either waiting on the public waiting list to get surgery, or you go to a private clinic, which will go much quicker. So that is a decision one has to discuss with your partner and then see what your next steps will be. We wanted to get this myoma out as soon as possible, so we were lucky enough that we had a clinic in our own city because it's not a given that you get your surgery in your city here. If it's completely full or you have to wait a long while and you want to have it done quickly, in terms of fertility and you're past 30, like I said, it's a little bit a race against time. We were lucky enough that this was a benign problem. This was something that was just a race against, fertility rather than, something more severe. I ended up contacting a private clinic, and that's where I found a surgeon that was right for me and that could actually do this, and we felt safe in this person's hands. But I wanted to share a little bit of my personal experience about this, because waiting for something when you're terrified is not healthy. It's not healthy for your mind, it's not healthy for your body. And I got to experience that a lot this autumn. For any of you who are going through something similar, I just want to extend a hand, basically, and say that you are strong, you're a fighter, and you can do this. Like I said, my whole world got flipped upside down, and I still went to work. I still did what was expected of me every day until the surgery day, but I will say I did not go without meltdowns. And I think as a perfectionist, you sort of want to be at your best. You always want to strive to not have anything wrong with you. Like it makes no sense, but when you're a perfectionist or having a perfectionist brain, you sort of go through these steps with the mindset of like, don't crumble, you can do this. And then of course you crumble. Sometimes you just have to let that go. Sometimes you just have to accept that you will crumble. You will cry. You will not be able to perform your best this day, and that's okay. And that is something that I really needed to feel this autumn. When you go through steps of, having more tests from your body, you overthink, and then just going towards surgery day step by step, it was terrifying. I have to say, it was terrifying. I had to find ways to digest every single wave of fear that came over me. And sometimes you just don't have the strength to do that. And it feels overwhelming. But in this process of not knowing what's going on, what is going on in the uterus? Like, why is this happening to me? Why? It's reading the stats about a myoma. It's just like, I got so frustrated on behalf of women. What else is new, right? Women health. What do we know? What do we not know? Mostly not know, I think. None of my friends knew what this was. My mother didn't know what it was. There was a lot of Googling, basically, and I still felt that I didn't get enough answers about this. Yes, I could read about what a myoma is, but what's causing it or cause and effect, it's still something that we just don't know. There's not enough research on it. Some people say it's genetics. Some people say it's a mix between genetics and environment and diet, and it's all speculation. It's all non-definite answers. So this is something that I think is also part of the problem, and why it gets so scary is that, first of all, it's not talked about a lot. Second of all, there's just not enough research to actually know what causes it. I thought I would just read out some snippets for you from a journal that I kept actually through this time. And if I can recommend anything, writing down your feelings going through something scary and unexpected can help so much with your mental health. So I kept this little journal to get me through some of the most scary days of this journey. Let's just say that it starts when we started going through the fertility journey, when we had to go to the doctor and figure out what was wrong, all of the emotions happened. And like I said, I was crushed when I found out that it was something that I needed to get surgery for, but also so relieved that it was something that could be fixed. Feelings for this day: total shock, disappointment, fear of surgery, numbing fear, a lot of negative thoughts, right? So this is the beginning. So at this point, fear, numbing fear, as I wrote, was one of the worst things, because you're so scared that you basically just feel numb. It's like you can't even move, you're so scared. And that was something new for me. Like, I'm a very active person. I'm here, there, everywhere. But hence, I couldn't even grab the camera to talk about this. Like, I couldn't do things. No Lush products, you know? Like I said, what I want to do, like talk to you guys about fun stuff and everything. I couldn't. I was just completely succumbed by fear. But I did have visits from friends, visits from family, and I was able to talk about it. And that was one of the things that really got me through the anxiety in the beginning, is talk about your fear with people that you trust. I talked about it obviously with my husband, but also with friends that I trusted, close friends, who really, really, truly encouraged me through the process. And I want to encourage everyone to try to open up to someone you trust when you go through something like this. I figured it out in the end of September, and the surgery was in the beginning of December. So it was a little bit of waiting time, actually, even though we were going to the clinic. 2.5 months of bad sleep, nightmares. When your brain is overthinking like mine is, when you have anxiety, especially about medical things, your brain goes into what if? What if this happens? What if this happens? What if? And that was something I just had to navigate through and try to master when I could. And in the beginning, it was just impossible. I just kept having breakdown after breakdown. I just kept believing every negative thought that came my way. And you quickly realize that that is not a way to live. And you sort of have to train your brain to get over it. There are different tools of doing this. It doesn't always work either, but you have to try, you know. I wrote in my book that too many negative emotions. I can't sleep. I need to watch something. Let me put on The Lord of the Rings. I needed to watch something that gave me a pause for my own brain, you know, and that helped. It's a short-term help, but to distract yourself from in the moment when you're not able to fight the negative thoughts is something I would highly recommend. I had a panic attack. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I had to lie down, basically. These feelings were so intense and so much coming at me at the same time. And it was always, you know, before, you know, you get tested for this and that, and it's always before the test and then after the test and in between. And you know, living in the unknown is always the worst. And to be able to fight yourself in those moments was very tricky. But it does work. It does work if you're aware of it. And in the beginning, I was able to talk to my surgeon. Now, this is also something that the clinic offers. Feeling more relieved when I sort of was able to explain to her my biggest worries about the whole thing, and for her to tell me facts. So at least I could fight my negative thoughts that were just rooted in fear with facts. If you work in health, communication is so important. Now, my surgeon was amazing to talk to, but speaking to the people who were coordinating everything between me and the surgeon, sometimes, at least for me, I was a bit unlucky with who I talked to. Sometimes, you know, you feel vulnerable in a situation, especially if it's an unknown situation, and you have questions. And if the questions are not met with empathy, I guess, in a sense that, you know, you expect a professional answer, but also keeping in mind, if the patient says, I'm very nervous, I'm very scared, that one would hope that your response has that in mind. It was harder for me to sort of relax into the fact that this was a solvable issue when I was met with sort of bad communication, I will just say. And I think that goes for any patient. And I think that's very common. And people are, they're busy and they don't have time to always think about the patient's emotions all the time. But patients with anxiety like myself feel so relieved if you can just give them a little bit of I understand you. Like, we're here for you. I understand you. Just a little bit. Just putting that out there. To combat stress is so important because it will manifest itself one way or another. And then it causes extra issues on top of the ongoing issue that you're on your way to solve. Even though it's hard to think beyond the surgery when you're so afraid, that was also something that was important to me, that just think of the day after the surgery, the day after. And I needed to do an MRI as well. And I have to be honest, before I did the MRI, I YouTubed any kind of MRI machine to hear the noises that I was going to hear in the machine. And I've heard people getting claustrophobic inside of machines because it's so loud and feels so enclosed in the machine. And I luckily don't suffer with claustrophobia, but I have this thing where if people tell me about a negative reaction that they might have, my brain is like, what if that happens to me? Even though it's not rooted in reality. And I think that's the common factor here. I never thought I would do what I'm about to tell you now. But I want to put it out there because this was part of the process as well. When you have that much anxiety, it's like the part of your brain that's supposed to listen and receive information, it's like it shuts down. It's only fear that's like shouting in your head. And no matter how much you breathe and try to do relaxing exercises and going through therapeutic sessions, prayer, or whatever you do to keep yourself calm, when you have that kind of brain, it's very hard to concentrate in those situations. Because in an MRI machine, you have to be completely still. If you move, you have to do the whole thing over again. And it's quite a long time, at least I needed the abdominal one. That takes around 20 minutes inside the machine, and which I thought was so long. And I thought, how am I going to be still? How am I going to be still in a machine for 20 minutes with all those noises around me when I'm that scared? I then ended up taking tranquilizing medicine or relaxing medicine. I will say it's a little bit frowned upon where I'm from to take one. And it's sort of compared to like with addiction, like if you start taking it, you'll never stop, blah, blah, blah. It's one of those things. And I was so scared of that as well because of things, again, I didn't know anything about it. I've just heard things about it. And I just want to put it out there for those of you who feel that anxious that you have to take relaxing type of medicine. I don't feel bad about it. And I'm probably talking mostly to myself when I say that, because you're in a situation you cannot control and you already feel so scared about what is going to happen and you're in the middle of a process. Sorry. Which is ridiculous because if you need it, doctors recommend taking one, but of course this has to be something that you should talk to your healthcare provider about. That's what I did. And I was told that, it could be good to take one so that my stressful part of my brain would close down and that the rest was able to focus. And that's exactly what happened to me. It helped me so much in the MRI machine. I was also told you get to listen to music when you're in the machine, and that was true. You get to listen to music, which was it's okay. It's not the best, obviously, headphones because it can't have anything magnetic in it, and but it worked. And from the moment I stepped into the clinic where they do the MRI, I just felt that I was able to receive the information I was given without being terrified, which was exactly what I needed at that time. In the MRI machine at one point, there was also, because I had music, and I was able to relax inside the machine, and I heard Phil Collins's song from Tarzan, You'll Be in My Heart, and somehow that just resonated with me so much in the machine. So I was literally hearing the sounds of the machine along with the song, and I was sort of just vibing to it in my head. So again, finding little things that can sort of help you through something that you're scared of is so valuable. I went away with that experience without feeling scared or thinking that it was traumatic in any way. So again, I'm not here to promote drugs. I just felt that sharing that as well as part of my journey was something that I never thought I would experience. And when I did, I had a realization that, if it helps you, anything is okay, as long as it's safe. Do not judge yourself. After doing all of these steps that are needed, your surgeon, before you have surgery, it actually, in a weird way, made me stronger. Which again, I never thought it would. In the moment when I had to go through it, I felt that it was the scariest thing, and I just hated it all. But this is the thing, right? The more you do that you are afraid of, the stronger you get. When you can turn back and see that, whoa, I did it. I actually did it. And it wasn't as scary as my brain told me it would be. My brain was lying to me. That feeling is such a good feeling. So I guess that's what they always say, do things afraid. Do it afraid. We hate doing things afraid, but it's so rewarding in the end when we do it. And that is probably the biggest lesson that I've learned throughout this journey. And that is also the biggest lesson I wrote in here. Sometimes it takes several tries before you can do it, and that's totally fine. It's just about not giving up and keep going and persevering through the anxiety. It felt like it was going to pull me down, but it actually pushed me towards the end goal. So by the time we got closer, or I got closer to surgery, it was like my brain, it was still giving me stupid scenarios, but I sort of could finally fight back my brain with reality and saying that, well, you said this would happen when I did this, but it didn't. My biggest fear about surgery, it was not the pain after. I'm a person I'm not afraid of pain. That's not part of my anxiety. For some of you, it might be. But my biggest issue is letting things go, and that is general anesthesia, because that is also something I had never done before. General anesthesia and to some extent, blood tests. Now, I don't know what it is. I'm not necessarily afraid of needles, but somehow when there's a needle extracting blood, there's just something in me that goes, and the fact that I knew that I was going to be put under, that there was a moment of time where I would have zero control of what was going to happen to my body. It is the scariest feeling, knowing that you are not in control anymore. My brain didn't like that. So my brain tried to tell me to run away, or to be like thinking that, are there ways that we can get away from this, because the worst is going to happen. And that was something I battled every single day. I had to find different ways to conquer it. I even went to ChatGPT to type in ways to sort of make a mantra of what to reply to my brain when it started going off on a tangent and giving me basically a cinematic video in my head of the worst experience of general anesthesia. So ChatGPT sort of gave me another video to make up in my brain about myself that actually it's gonna go very well. I'm gonna be rolled in, everyone's gonna greet me, you will feel this, it's gonna be fine, it doesn't feel scary, it feels safe. You know, all of these counter ways of dealing with your brain going ballistic on you, which really, really helps. So shout out to ChatGPT. I had to do a blood test the day before surgery, and somehow this was also really bothering with my anxiety, because my brain goes to like the things we have to do, and it was like, oh, I have to do this blood test, I have to go to a hospital, I have to get this blood test, I have to do this. And it was the day before surgery, and my brain is like, how are we going to do that? Again, I did it afraid, and you find power in that. And also that's why I was able to keep working as well, because work was it's tiring, but also work was a distraction from those thoughts. And being honest with some of my coworkers and telling them in situations where I felt that, okay, I don't feel good right now, also really helped and made me push through the days as well. And of course, if people can't work in those situations, that's totally fine too. Just in my situation, I didn't stop working before the actual surgery day. But yeah, I did the blood test the day before, nervous as heck, as always. This time I did not need any medicine, I did it. And because I have done blood tests before. It was scary, I was alert, but I knew that, well, they're taking my blood and that's it. I don't have to receive any information. So I got there, I did it, and actually, again, I had a good experience. I met really nice healthcare providers who understood my situation and were lovely and telling me to, you know, that it's okay to be scared, and they took me through the whole process, and it's a quick pinch through the skin, and then the blood is taken and everything's okay. And it sort of again gives you that courage or encouragement, I guess, to think that, okay, I did this today, this was fine. I met nice people, I liked the place, there was like Christmas decorations in the hospital, things like that, like kind people, nice Christmas trees, nativity scenes, like anything that's very cozy and Christmassy actually got me through that anxiety as well. I had to let my mind I have to force my mind to accept the positive triggers as well. And leading up to the surgery also, my brain, and I wrote that down, my brain sort of changed from being like, I don't want to do this, like, no, please, holding on to my door here. It went from that to like, okay, I don't want to do this, but I also just want to be done. I want to be done. Let's do this. Come on, chop, chop, chop. Let's do this. So there was a change within the anxiety to just not wanting to do it at all, to like, let's get this done. And I swear that my brain only got to that point because of those positive triggers that I had to infuse in my brain. That is not medical, that is just experience-based. Just being grateful for little things really, really helped me to get to that point where I was ready. I was scared, but I was ready. I did film a little bit of this process, some from when I was so scared and I just got the news until the actual surgery day and when I was finished. And I thought I will just show that to you now before I wrap up this video. Fertility update. Just went to the doctor, as you can tell. I've been having a little bit of a meltdown. I have an 8-centimeter myoma that has to be removed surgically. Well, it was a bit of a shock. I'm dealing with it. But to any of you girls out there who deals with this, I feel for you so much. So I just wanted to come on here and show you guys this is real. Real time fertility problems here. But we are crossing fingers and everything that it will work out. I feel for all of you who are going through this. I feel for all of you. And you're not alone. You are absolutely not alone. And people should talk more about this. If you're doing anything that you're scared of, so scared that you're gonna cry and panic,
I have to say, even though I'm not an advocate of drugs, Valium, or I don't think it's called lorazepam, can help. Very nice. It's 5 a.m. Let's go.
So maybe you saw it in the videos now that my whole being was so different from receiving the news towards the end. Recovery has been hard, I'm not gonna lie. And that was something I didn't even think of in the process. But recovery has been hard. It's been a lot of pain. I have to have a lot of painkillers in the beginning, but the entire time I was so relieved that I was able to go through the process and that I could end my journal on a high note saying, I did it. It is finished. I did it. Being so grateful that I had the best care and the best people to talk to around me, whether professionally, at home, or even on the surgery day. And just being able to talk to the anesthesiologist before the surgery helps so much. They are amazing people, knowing exactly what you're going to go through. If you tell them what you're anxious about, at least in my experience, the anesthesiologist was very understanding, provided me with the best information possible, and made me feel as relaxed as I could be on the actual surgery day. Again, I had to take medicine to relax in the morning, which was actually recommended by my surgeon, by the anesthesiologist. If I was not able, when I woke up in the morning of the surgery day, if I was not able to concentrate, if I felt that I couldn't even write my name because I was so scared, they highly recommended it. So again, like in the MRI machine, I thought, I'll do it because I can't think, I'm so scared. And even though I had all these positive triggers, you know, on the actual day, you don't know how you're going to feel. So in my situation, I did what I felt was safe. It's interesting how when you're guided through something and you think that what am I going to do? I don't know, you know, your brain just doesn't know how to handle this. Just being open about it and talk to people about it and having sort of someone guide you through with steps what you can do, whether it be ChatGPT or people you know or the healthcare provider, it will help you out so much. It did for me, at least, so much so that I got through the severe anxiety of general anesthesia. You know, praise God, I woke up feeling fine, and that was my biggest fear of all. It was how I was going to wake up, and everything went fine. I feel that was a whole combination of the whole thing, that I was just so relieved that it was over, completely tuned out everything else, including the pain. Like, don't get me wrong, pain is annoying. Pain is just for a little while, you know? It's been now a little over 2 weeks since my surgery day, and I'm feeling much better than I did in the beginning. In the beginning, it was very tiring to just get up from the sofa and out to the kitchen and back again. Like, it felt like I've been running a marathon, basically. So I would say in terms of energy, I'm feeling more like myself, and I'm feeling that every single day. Taking your time to recover is so important no matter what surgery you've had. And that's something everyone has been telling me, that just even though you want to move around and run around, and even me making this video right now, like, I'm trying to minimize doing things as much as possible. And I know there are a lot of women that probably do not have that opportunity, and that breaks my heart. But you're so strong, and I just want to, that's what I wanted to say in this video, that kudos to us women. Like, men, you're great too, but this is a female health issue, and as a woman, I have been going through it. All my love goes out to you who maybe don't have that many people and have to do things on your own, and recovery time might be very, very different. I just extend my biggest hug to you and love to you, and to all women who are going through something like this. I hope in some way this video was a little bit of a help, and that everyone's journey is different. This was my journey. You might not have the same experience, of course, but if anything of this generates with you, that you feel that you recognize yourself in something that I said, just know that you're not alone. And when you go through something like this, it feels like you're the only person in the world who goes through it. Well, now you know. There's a girl in Norway that went through something similar, and we are here together. And for those of you who have concerns about fertility or anything, I've been trying for a while, don't be like me and wait too long before you get help. Just do it even though you're super afraid, but it's way better to have it done earlier so that recovery is possibly quicker. Thank you so much for watching my video. I will be back doing what I usually do. I'm still recovering, so thank you guys for letting me take my time. Stay safe, stay strong. Remember to be kind to people, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye.